they drop off specimens regularly, and they freeze it. And for a cost, I think it's like $635, $685. Then it's delivered to the doctor, like as a frozen poopsicle. And it's
poopsicle.
all, yeah. And
they test it.
It's all tested.
It's tested to see how healthy they are. And then
that they don't have any diseases, because that's one of the scary things about people doing FMTs at home is
you don't know.
You don't know. You could be at risk for hepatitis, for HIV, for all these different parasites. You have no idea.
Yeah.
They've even started seeing that the microbiome is somehow related to like the development of Alzheimer's and certain cancers.
Yeah, because it's all connected. The gut-brain connection.
The gut-brain connection is real.
I wonder if you think differently, or
yeah. I don't know.
So crazy.
It's pretty interesting.
So
stuff.
Arden had that?
No. So we were lined up to do that. So my mother-in-law went in and went through testing, and we made sure because if you're not using, for us, we were going to use a close family member, and the closest family member was Donna.
Amazing.
Because the rest of the family had C. diff.
Yeah. Everyone had C. diff.
Everyone had C. diff. So, but the taper worked for us, and we did a lot of really high quality probiotics while she was going through the taper. So you always have to make sure to take your probiotic 3 hours after your antibiotic, because otherwise the antibiotic just kills it. So we did that with Arden. We were prescribed a really high quality probiotic.
I didn't even know they prescribe probiotics.
So there's VSL3, which is it's prescription. It's a medical food. So you keep it refrigerated. It comes as a powder. So we took that, and then she also took BioK, which is it's been voted top by pharmacists for like 3 years, which you also keep refrigerated, or they have capsules. And then we also did Saccharomyces boulardii, which
wow, it's a strain.
It's a yeast.
Oh, okay.
So it's a different. It is a probiotic, but you can take it at any time. Like you can take it with your antibiotic, and it's actually It's shown in studies that it helps prevent C. diff recurrences.
Oh, okay.
So it keeps all the goobies, all the bad bacteria from adhering in your intestinal tract. So I will be taking that for the rest of my life, and my kids will too. So we use like a powdered form, and they love it. It's banana flavored, and they open their mouths and sprinkle it in.
And where do you get that?
You can get it on Amazon.
Cool.
Or so there's a couple different brands.
So it's a preventative measure. Okay.
Yes.
Anyone can take it.
Anyone can take it. We've had good results with Saccharomyces boulardii, and I will continue taking that. They actually found so the guy who discovered it was Henri Boulard. It was like in 1923, and he was in Southeast Asia, and he saw like the native people chewing on lychee fruit and some mango something or other, and they were chewing on it to prevent the symptoms from cholera, or to treat the symptoms from cholera. And cholera is actually related to
C. diff?
C. diff.
Okay.
It's all in the same family, like tetanus, cholera, and C. diff. They're just like big honkin' bacteria.
Are they trying to make vaccine for it? Or
They are. They are. There are a lot of big pharmaceutical companies who are working on a vaccine. It's actually a huge... like all the big pharma is working on trying to solve this. There are also some new antibiotics that are in the pipeline where they're just targeted to C. diff.
C. diff or like CRE or...
Well,
or is it just...
With CRE, there's not a lot to treat it. It has like a death rate of like 50%.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
And that's here.
It's here in California.
Wow.
So if you get CRE, it's really just supportive measures. So it's just giving you fluids and trying to let your body heal itself.
And these are all super bugs that are coming from
antibiotic overuse, and then the bacteria can like talk amongst each other and transfer these genes that keep them from being able to be killed by antibiotics.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah,
It's amazing how much you've learned in the last year about all this.
I've learned a lot. It's been a really interesting ride. And there's just so many amazing things that are happening in this whole like they're working on it's like a treatment for C. diff that's like it's modeled after the human microbiome. So it's like it's like a fecal transplant, but with no fecal transplant
Interesting.
that's being worked on. They're actually working on like for women who are having a C-section. Now there's like microbirthing, which is vaginal seeding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the swabbing?
Yes. So you take it's not so much in the US, although some people do it, but they
Mm-hmm.
take like a sheet from the vaginal secretions and put it on the baby's face and
Oh,
introduce the baby that way. Because babies who are actually born by C-section have different microbiomes than babies who are born vaginally. So
yeah.
it's something that's established at birth. We each have these our own very individual microbiomes. It's really incredible.
And last time we were speaking, you had mentioned when you give your baby an antibiotic, it changes their
It does.
Yeah.
It does. So it's best. Our infectious disease doctor was very insistent on this. In the first year of life or so, you really don't want to give an antibiotic unless you really have to.
Mm-hmm.
Because even as adults, when you take an antibiotic, you can kill off, there's all these tons of different, it's like this robust rainforest in your
Mm-hmm.
gut. And you want as many different species in there protecting you as possible, all these different strains, all these different bacteria. But then you take an antibiotic and you lose them. And some of them never come back.
Mm.
They're just gone. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been I'm constantly trying to like cultivate the good bacteria. So I'm always eating like sauerkraut and kimchi and
Yeah.
I've gone dairy free, so I don't do the kefir so much, but I
Mm-hmm.
do like
Kombucha.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm a big kombucha fan.
I want to talk about how other countries, like you were saying in Canada with BioK, in the hospitals, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in
How
Canada, it's just you take an antibiotic, they give out BioK in the hospitals.
Which is so, I mean, it's like a really nice high-end probiotic.
It is.
It's expensive.
Yes.
But it's amazing that they know the value
Yes.
in protecting their patients.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was recently shown that probiotics do help prevent C. diff infections.
Yeah. So what would you say to someone who's home, like scared shitless of C. diff, whether like me, they're pregnant, they're about to go to the hospital, or they have a procedure, they have to take an antibiotic in the hospital, or just anything? Like, how can you prevent it? And what have you learned? Because you mentioned changing the way you eat as well.
Yes. Take a high quality probiotic.
Mm-hmm.
Avoid antibiotics where you can. I know that you can't always avoid it. I've changed up my diet to be anti-inflammatory. So I've taken out dairy. I make sure that all of my foods are well sourced, so I know where they're coming from, and I'm avoiding. I've had to do a lot of gut healing.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought that I would never be back to normal, and I do. Most people who've had C. diff do suffer with post-infectious irritable bowel syndrome. I'm actually getting a lot better, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I do, ever since having C. diff, I did develop psoriatic arthritis, which I did not have before. And I've come across a fair amount of women who have also developed
What is that?
It's psoriasis, and then
Okay.
it affects your joints. So it kind of just, you can't definitively say that they're related or not, but I didn't have it before and now I do. So I tried to have an anti-inflammatory diet to sort of manage everything.
That's so good.
But yeah, always take a high quality probiotic with an antibiotic. And, there's so many people where they're part of the health and wellness culture and they know so many things about health and they're taking turmeric, which is amazing. Love turmeric. And they're juicing and they source all their foods and they do all these things and they work out and they take care of themselves. And, you know, you see them on Instagram, you see them everywhere. But then they're missing the antibiotic part.
Yeah. They're still taking it.
Yeah. So they, you know, they get a little bit sick and then they're on an antibiotic and they don't realize that they just wiped out years
of work
of their whole gut flora.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't realize that this is just out there in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Like having horrible infectious diarrhea for 6 months or more can be a real downer.
Yeah, totally. And being in quarantine.
Yes.
Well, I'm so happy that you're spreading this knowledge and you have GutsyMother and people are finding you.
Yes. And
because there's like nothing out there.
There isn't enough. And it's I started working, I'm on staff with a nonprofit out of Brooklyn called the Peggy Lillis Foundation. So I was really lucky to find them because it's just, there's not enough people talking about it because the healthcare community doesn't seem to want to talk about it. So now there's like hashtag #CDiff.
Yeah.
So I see, so it's on Instagram, it's on social media, it's all these places. And then there's like people asking, #CDiff is a hashtag? And it's like, yes.
Yeah, because that's how.
Is a hashtag because it's huge. It's huge. So I was very fortunate to find the Peggy Lillis Foundation. So they're working in like lobbying efforts to change the laws here, hopefully in California, because there's only 2 states, Illinois and Washington, that actually report C. diff on death certificates.
Oh my gosh.
So, and as someone where my whole family had C. diff, like I really wondered, is anyone even going to know what happened to us?
Yeah.
You know? So I called the public health department and I'm like, we all have C. diff. You know, can you check out the hospital where we were? Can you check out the surgical facility where my husband was? And they're asking me, what do you want us to do? And I'm going, are you kidding me?
Yeah, you need to help
do
me.
Something.
Yeah.
You know better what to do than I do. I never even heard of it until 3 months ago or whatever it is. So then they said, well, you should call the CDC.
Oh, wow.
So I called the CDC and I'm like, help.
Yeah.
We all have C. diff and I'm afraid that we're going to die. What do I do? And I could hear the guy looking up on his...
What it is?
And I'm going,
oh my God.
And then he's like, you know what? It's not a reportable disease. And I'm going, are you kidding me? Whooping cough is a reportable disease.
Yeah.
Like when my girlfriend and her family all got whooping cough, they all had to take antibiotics and they had to report every single case. This is a major superbug that kills more people than AIDS and drunk driving combined. And we're not reporting it?
That's ridiculous.
Like you can report this. We need to know what the numbers are, especially here in California where it's such a big problem. So the reporting in Washington and Illinois on death certificates, and
it's required in those states.
Yes, but it's not required
anywhere else. So that's what you're working on.
Yes. So I'm working on our campaign, which is Make C. diff Count.
That's awesome.
So we're trying to have reporting for healthcare acquired or healthcare associated infections like C. diff, VRE, CRE. Report them. So people who are harmed by them, people who die, we need to know. We need to know what happened to these people. It's not right. It's not right to not talk about it. So.
Do you talk about your work on GutsyMother?
I do.
Oh, cool. So people can get involved and help out?
Yes. People can get involved. I mean, please share our videos, share what we're working on. This isn't just something that doesn't happen to people. Like I get so many people sharing their stories where they are young women who are like 22 years old, haven't been on antibiotics, and next thing you know, their whole life is blown up. They can't work. They can't leave their house. You know, it's because it's part of like poop. people,
no one wants to talk about it.
No one wants to talk about it.
But we need to start somewhere.
We have to talk about it. We have to talk about it because it's not